Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast NBA playoffs edition. Today we are here with the final four teams in the NBA playoffs, and in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, as two of these teams will make it to the NBA Finals. And to talk about it, we have the NBA aficionado, Mr. Evan Debo. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, Martin. How are you? I'm great. The Cavaliers are in the Final Four. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2018, and the first time without anybody named LeBron James on the roster since 1992.
Yeah, yeah. I'm feeling great as well, and that's honestly just the perfect segue because we're going to talk about how these four teams got to where they were, and let's just start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Evan, what was their road to the Final Four?
The road was messy. It was full of ups and downs. It was strenuous. It was stressful. It took years off my life. In other ways, it added years back to my life only to take it off again. The Cavs, with using all 14 games available to them to win two Game 7s to advance to this, really start off to a 2-0 against the Raptors. Raptors would lose Brandon Ingram in that series, and then, obviously, Cavs would then go drop in Toronto, and then it was a best-of-3 series, and then they end up pulling it out on top. Just a gritty squad, number 5 defensively in the NBA. They go on to the Pistons, who also were on a Game 7 series against Orlando. They would, fight against a tough Pistons team. Came back from 0-2, Martin, in that series to win 4 out of 5. Yep. Should have won Game 6 Friday night. I was in the building for just a apathetic showing in front of the home court, and then they came in and they just boat raced Detroit in Detroit. I'm still dumbfounded. 2 big Game 7s in both series from Jared Allen. They've been floating around. The team has about Game 7 JA. Game 7 JA so far is real, even though it's most likely a meme. But Cavs scrape by. It hasn't been pretty. You're playing, again, the top 5 defense in the NBA, round 1. Detroit, top 2 defense in the NBA, round 2. But the Cavs find a way. I mean, that's what the playoffs are about, find a way. First conference finals for Donovan Mitchell in his career. He gets that monkey off his back, but obviously we know the work is still to go.
Yep. And then let's just talk about the path their opponent, the New York Knicks, took.
Yeah, the Knicks. Cavs. They didn't outright dodge the Hawks, who were feisty towards the end of the regular season, but they definitely didn't do anything to help their effort to continue winning games or playing them. So the Knicks took them. I believe it was a 1-1 series. I think right off the gate, Atlanta stole one. Mm-hmm. And then Atlanta just pulled away. And then, who the Cavs really wanted to avoid was, the thorn on their side, on the other side of the bracket with the Boston Celtics. You thought it was going to be a Celtics-Knicks as good as the Celtics were playing with Tatum. But Joel Embiid got alive and hot and healthy for just enough games to leverage them back with those young guards, Maxey and Edgecombe, and Paul George was doing well. And then, they knock off Boston in Boston in Game 7. But then they get boat raced in 4 by, was it 4? No, in 5, right?
No, in 4. Knicks in 4.
4. They got swept. Knicks swept them in 4, and Joel just had nothing. Everything he gave in the Boston series was all he had in this calendar. So they were done. So they've been sitting home idle for 8-9 days, waiting on the outcome. And as this series kept getting extended between Cavs and Pistons, slugfest back to back. Right now we're on the verge of Game 1 recording this, and you've got a team who's been off, and are they going to be rusty or rested and ready to go? And for the Cavs, you've been playing every other day for like 12 days in a row. There's been no off days or no extension days, flipping series, nothing. So that is your Eastern Conference matchup.
Yeah, and just a tidbit too with the 76ers, they came back from a 3-1 deficit. That was the first time Boston has ever let a 3-1 lead disappear.
They were great, man. Boston just didn't have any answer when the threes weren't falling. An uncharacteristic series from your Peyton Pritchards of the world that, just a notorious Cavs killer, but they definitely, obviously, we knew they didn't have front court size, and they absolutely didn't have front court size for Joel there. And, just great showing from the Sixers to get to that spot. But, I mean, New York has been clicking on all cylinders.
Yes.
And Martin, in both of their first two rounds, I mean, it's not just beating people. I mean, it is smacking them and taking their lunch money, smacking them.
Hmm.
So OG Anunoby was injured, didn't have to play, wasn't used to play for the final couple games there. So, what level is he as we come into game one of the Eastern Conference Finals as well? Will be yet to be seen. But, Cat and has not been in foul trouble as much. They're figuring out timely buckets. I mean, in that finale, game four, you had Deuce going unconscious.
Hmm.
It's going to be a ruckus crowd in New York, and a lot for the Cavs to face and overcome as they enter the series.
And we'll go back. We'll come back to them and give our predictions on that. Let's
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
the teams who made it on the West. The San Antonio Spurs path, Evan.
They did. So T Wolves were their opponent that they knocked out prior to that.
Hmm.
In round one, they had Portland as
Yep.
well. So Portland was able to, you thought was going to make a series when Wemby just lost his cool and absolutely, flagrant two, elbowed and, advanced. No, actually, I'm sorry, I screwed that up. That was in the Timberwolves series. It was against Nas Reed. But prior to that, in Portland, he missed the game. That's where I was getting confused for a second. He missed the game with a concussion where he fell face first. But, I mean, outside of those two anomalies, just a juggernaut. Games he's played 15 minutes in, Martin, in the last 41 games, they are 38-3. 38-3 in games he's played at least 15 minutes in playoffs and regular season. I mean, they're just a juggernaut. That said, they haven't beat the Cleveland Cavaliers since 2023. So, obviously, if we advance, I'll take my chances with them over Oklahoma City because we certainly, as you and I saw on MLK Day, we struggled with that. But they ran into an overmatch, but overperforming this year Portland team. No Dame, that's exciting to add that to next year. And then when they get to the Timberwolves series, by that point, they had just scraped by. I mean, they beat Denver handily, but I mean they had scraped by that final couple games with DiVincenzo out with an ACL tear. Ant was really minutes restricted with his knee. Still not sure how he came back. Just not enough firepower towards the end, and they took care of him. So that was their path. On the other side of the bracket, OKC took care of then some of the Los Angeles Lakers. Again, no Luka Doncic. There was talk, obviously, you're going to go overseas, get the blood spinning in the knee, all the different things to try to come back, but just couldn't do it, and obviously it was just overpowered and overmatched. So, and that led to last night. I'll admit it, I was working late, got back, came home and crashed, and I missed arguably the game of the year, Martin. You stay up and watch?
Oh
Game
yeah,
one, San Antonio took a 1-0 series lead in OT. Victor with, you're going to have to help me with the stats, what, 41-23 or something?
41 and 24. Yep, I was up all night watching it. I actually had some people over for the game, and obviously they left at different points. Like at the end of regulation, some people left. At the end of the first overtime, it left because it was the game didn't end with the two overtimes till right before midnight. So I watched the entire game in bed. I just it was amazing. Like if that's how that series is gonna be, it's gonna be something else.
We thought that's how it might turn out. I mean, just
Hmm.
everybody kept waiting with bated breath. And I mean, the Spurs have beaten OKC a couple times this year prior to that. And I mean, these young kids for San Antonio continuing to show up. You're Dylan Harper's, just amazing what they're able to pull off. And I mean, just Wemby, just a monster last night. And it's, by all accounts, again, I didn't watch the game. I've been dissecting some clips and listening to some podcast reviews, but I mean, it seems like the whistle was relatively down the middle, where everybody's been complaining and griping about you breathe on OKC and they get the call. Like, it seems like it was a pretty fairly called game last night too.
Yeah, and I mean with Wemby too. I mean, those are the games that your legacy really get built on that like people talk about forever. I mean, Jay Williams took an awful mid-range jumper that led to the now legendary
Yeah,
Wemby pulling up from 30 feet. Like that was an awful
fading
shot by.
away.
It
Yep.
was awful, but I mean that's what it's about. This is literally what playoffs is about. And I don't think the NBA could have asked for a better Western Conference Finals because it's like.
No,
But my thing, Evan, too, is that what what are these other teams in the West looking at this? Because these teams aren't going anywhere.
not going anywhere. They got contract friendly deals with young players. I mean, what these young kids are doing, I mean, at
Hmm.
their age, you got Victor, it's, born in '04. You've got Harper born in '06. Like these kids are Super Castle born in
Yep,
'04.
Castle.
Like it's
Yep.
just, they're not going anywhere. So like Castle is just an absolute dog. But I mean,
Hmm.
when it's all said and done, Harper might be the best. He's only a rookie, man. He
Yep,
took
from
20
Rutgers,
shots. He
number
was
two
not
pick.
inefficient, but 24, 11, and 6 with 7 steals last night. A
Hmm.
menace, an
Ron
absolute
Harper's
menace.
son.
I mean, I I'm going to say this series is going 7, and I don't know who to pick.
Yeah, with them losing game one, the Thunder did lose. I mean, SGA did not have the best of his game. Alex Caruso went nuclear off the bench, dropping a 30 plus ball off the bench, keeping them alive in that game. I don't think you can count on that, but the real biggest thing, Evan, I watched the entire game. It's like, man, Chet, you gotta guard Wemby. You got to, man.
Yeah,
Alex Caruso, God bless
he
his
just
soul, ultimate glue guy for a championship team, but
played
he
out
should not be guarding Wemby.
and taking what did he take? 14 3-pointers last night, Alex Caruso.
Yeah, 8 for 14.
I mean, and had balled out absolutely.
Hmm. But it's gonna be
I mean, just
interesting, man.
it's going to be such a great series. Like I love that this is like you're at that time where there's no double games. Like it's like a 2-day build up for each game.
Hmm.
Every night you've got a game that's just absolutely killer. Um, so I mean, it's going to be so good to see. I'm curious to see how Dagnall makes some adjustments for whatever you can do. For what Wemby is because he's such a deterrent. So
Yeah, you can't drive near him. You got to get people like that. You got to get them in foul trouble. You got to, but you got to be aggressive with them. I mean, that's going to be up to the bigs and obviously them. But we'll see. We'll see. Game two is we're
who's
recording
the
on Tuesday. That's on tomorrow. So
yep.
we'll see, man. I love it.
It's going to be exciting to see. I mean, shout out Mitch Johnson. There's been so much talk this week too about just I didn't realize, and maybe you picked it up in some of the media coverage, just like how involved like Pop still is, behind the scenes and stuff with like
Hmm.
individually, like their players, like Carter Bryant is like, I got to take a call from Pop, and you're like, you're Carter Bryant, you're a rookie, you just recently broke the 8-man rotation this year, and like that's the level, and I mean, just why Pop is arguably right up there with Phil and
Hmm.
just considered among the goats of goat coaches.
Hmm. Yeah.
So Martin, if you're making a pick, it's going to be tough. I already said it's going 7. I'm not sure yet. I'm probably going to say OKC, and I don't feel good about it just because they've been there. And at a certain point, you got to. I mean, if Wemby goes off, are his young kids going to rise to the occasion in their first try at this?
Yeah, I would say OKC in 7. I mean, game two's already a must win. They can't go down 0-2 going back to San Antonio. That's just not gonna work. But I would say Thunder in 7. But again, I'm not confident either. I could see the Spurs winning in 6 too.
Yep, yep.
But that's the
So Martin,
beauty of it.
let's flip it back to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Hmm.
We're currently so part of this is kind of like a live first quarter thing. So we're
Yep.
already seeing some stuff. OG Anunoby is playing.
Yep.
So we're off and running here in New York. Just a quick Donovan Mitchell turnover here for an over and back pressure by Josh Hart. Um, Martin, this series I've seen. I would say of the takes I've heard of and seen from national pundits and folks outside of the Cleveland homerism, um, they're saying probably 60. I'd say 66% of them are saying not only the Knicks winning, but the Knicks are winning in 5. And then the other 33% are not only the Knicks winning, but they're winning in 6.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I I don't know. We'll see if we got tired legs. I feel like we got the depth compared to New York. I like the double bigs with Cat. I mean, what they've played so far, and give Knicks credit, right? I mean, what they played so far is they played like maybe the most hobbled version of Joel Embiid you could play. It's comparatively what we've seen in recent years. And then 2, you play Boston in the first round where there's literally like no bigs. So it's definitely a new challenge for the Knicks. But again, for the Cavs, they've shown other teams, and Knicks have been sitting home studying tape, right? I mean, the blueprint, like pressuring James Harden, trying to seek him out. They definitely have way better wing size. It's almost like back to the Raptors series, what the Cavs have seen. But, the Knicks have unlocked something here. And it'll be interesting to see where stuff goes. So far, I mean, we're only in game 1, but I've loved what I've seen from our bigs on Cap so far. He's had some sloppy turnovers. An 8-2 Cavs start out the gate. I apologize, I'm a little ahead of you, but again, we're just in the opening minutes here. But Martin, what are you looking for in the series? I guess in terms of prediction, because I know you well enough to know you're going to come back and ask me about it. Oh gosh, I just saw Scott Foster's reference this. Okay, it's going to be a long game.
We're up 8-2 right now, though.
Yeah, I know, but stuff can go real quick, especially Madison Square Garden. If Deuce McBride starts coming in and popping off rockets. I mean, I'm gonna lean Knicks in 6, but this Cavs team's resilient. I would not be surprised at all, if the Cavs find themselves up 3-2 and we're back in. Is it going 6 or 7? It could go either way, kind of thing. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying this team's been battle tested. I think they figured out a lot about themselves, particularly their rotations. I like the Dennis come in and change a pace with who he's coming in with. I think you're going to see Keon Ellis a lot more in the series on Brunson, who did not play really in the first 2 rounds, and you brought him in solely to eat other teams' guards. But obviously he's too small for Cade, and just really didn't have a role in the Raptors series. So, Martin, what are you looking for? What do you think's going to play out for over these next 7 games?
So I think the
47.
Cavs haven't given me a reason not to think this is going to go 7, just because they've been, like you said, so resilient during the playoffs. And I know everyone's saying Knicks in 5
and
or
they've
6.
been healthy.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's
How
going
many
7.
years have we haven't seen health?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going 7. I do unfortunately think the Knicks will, just because of the home court advantage at Madison Square Garden, Game 7.
That matters.
I think they would eke it out. But again, the Cleveland Cavaliers have been the most battle-tested team in this current playoff so far, with 2 Game 7s. So they are the most resilient team left in the playoffs. I could confidently say that.
Everybody's dogged them for taking of the 14 games, essentially going 14 and let me try it again. Of the 14 games going 8-6, right?
Yep,
so I mean, just like skin their teeth, they're barely getting through. I had to do my math there. Sorry, it's been a long 2-day week already with work. But I mean, again, I'm not surprised. I could see that. I want to think this team, my team, our team is certainly capable of this. But one, you got to stay healthy. I love the shooting. I mean, like Sam Money Merrill, what he did in Game 7 in Detroit, they just had no answers for. And when you have a guy, you have a guy like that who just has such a gravitational pull to him, where people have to just sell out at the line. He's proven more than this year than any other year in his career that he'll take a flying guy right by him and dive in, and then you've got the defense all kind of out of scramble and everything else too. So I mean, and then that just leaves you for, hey, you can get a guy in the dunker spot. Maybe there's somebody else coming in off a curl. But the biggest piece that I want to follow this series, because the matchup data will show it. I knew this stat way back in when we played New York, the potential to play him later on, and then it's come finally. Some national pundits have finally looked up the data. Dean Wade is a primary defender on Jalen Brunson in the 3 games this regular season. 1 of 15 with 2 assists.
Wow.
That's length. That's not buying pump fakes. That's making him try to shoot over top. He does all those. Hey, I'm going to catch the ball and pivot, and try to get you to jump into me or come off a screen and kind of jump if you're pushing too hard, going up over the top as opposed to sinking or something else. I mean, Dean has done a great job. I think we're well positioned. I think, and this is a team who wanted to play over Boston, but
Yes.
I mean, again, who knows? We might get swept in 4. We don't know. Tired legs might eventually set in, but hopefully the Cavs have learned something about themselves in this process. Hopefully Kenny's learned some stuff about rotations, because that's been equally part of our losses. Is Kenny has struggled with finding the right combinations, and I think it's a tough job with adding in as many pieces as you did in the last couple months of the year. But like, that's the stuff you got to figure out, and I mean that's ultimately how they figured stuff out in Detroit in Game 7 on Sunday.
Evan, what does it say about? I mean, the Western Conference shirts the first seed and the second seed, but the East it's the 4 seed Cavs and the 3 seed Knicks. I mean, no one expected the Cavs. I mean, really, to honestly, to be at this point. Knicks because we
Yeah,
all thought
or
Boston was going to
Detroit.
be
Yep.
at this point. Like, this really just shows, man, that this league is like the parity is. This is the highest it's been these past like 6, 7 years.
That was the word I was going to use. I mean, this is also obviously a year of just weird, right? Where you
Yeah.
get some folks like get healthy at the last second. I mean, what Boston was able to do throughout the year, just magnificent. And then to
Hmm.
hang on to that 2 seed as well, you add Tatum back in. I mean, I had put some light money on them winning it all because I mean, what I
Hmm.
saw and I was like, man, I don't like this buzzsaw at all. This looks like the championship team from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Um, and then you've got, I mean, obviously you had the Halliburton injury and having to blow stuff up in Indiana for a year. And I mean, you want to talk about some losers of playoffs. I mean, they did that trade where it's 52%. We keep our pick, 48% we don't, and it goes to the Clippers and end up trading a top 5 pick plus some other change for Zubac. Like, not that
Yeah.
Zubac isn't a great big and they need a big, but like, that was bad, man.
Hmm.
That was absolutely bad.
Yeah.
So,
No.
I mean, but back to your conversation about parity. Yes, the league's deep. It's going to continue to get deep. You're going to get a couple more bad teams in here when expansion finally hits. But I think this is a combination in the East of just, some wonky injuries, across the board. And then, again, shout out, regardless of what happened on Sunday, what Detroit did this year was just insane. I mean, to be a
Hmm.
60-win team, 2 years in the rear, only winning 14 games, just magnificent.
Yep. No. Evan, I just think with Detroit, they need another scorer.
Oh, they absolutely do. They've got to. We'll see. I mean, I heard somebody else this in the last couple of days say, "Hey, like, are they going to do let's all cash in like a Desmond Bain level offer to go out and find that second shot creator, that second gravity puller to open up their offense a little bit more, specifically with respect with Duran and how we can get Duran open and stuff a little bit more than, I mean, he just teams figured him out in the playoffs. The spacing was way different for the team, and I mean they absolutely need that.
Duran's probably the biggest loser of the playoffs in all honesty, but he lost. He's not getting that $100 million extension. Not a
He's
chance.
not getting that max. He's
No,
not getting that max.
no, no. He's the biggest loser. And then you said with the
Little Knicks
draft
run
too.
here to get within 2.
He used to
And
come
well,
around.
10-8 after the Cavs jumped out 10-2.
Yeah, and
Like the shots so far not falling a little bit, but Jared Allen's played great on Cat so far. Obviously, they're gone down from 2 bigs to 1, but I mean, that's some of the other pieces. Again, just can Cat stay on the floor? And if you're the Cavs, can you try to bait him into silly fouls?
yeah, yeah. And then you brought up the Clippers. Clippers are sitting pretty with that number 5 pick, the one they got from Indiana. I mean, this is
Speaking
a
of silly
pretty.
fouls, Cat with a silly foul. Let's keep podding and saying silly fouls, and maybe he'll pick up his 6 real quick as a Cavs fan. Nah, we don't have all day.
No, no. So Evan, right now, I mean, barring anything, it's looking like we have Thunder, Thunder Knicks, but we wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs we would be surprised if the Spurs made it, and we wouldn't be surprised too with how resilient the Cavs are. I would not be surprised if any of these 4 teams were in the finals. Just saying like that,
Yeah.
which
The
is
betting,
great.
the betting odds have the Cavs obviously the worst of the four, and I think a lot of it's been they worked through 2 7-game series, and they're
Yeah.
like, hey, you're good at winner take alls, at least in those two against what they're saying are inferior competition or whatever. But a lot to be determined. It'll certainly be fun regardless. Again, the Cavs have lost either of those 2 game sevens. Martin, is the team's blown up. I mean, is
Hmm.
Kenny going to stick around for a third year at his own choosing or not? So I mean, I just so much on the line. I mean, I mean, as a Cavs fan, I felt that stress of just, man, like where could you go? What could you do? You get in the Giannis sweepstakes and immediately accelerate your timeline to like a year and a half or 2 years before you know it, something else happens contractually because you're already at the second apron again. But they pulled it out. I think these are going to be two great series, and it's just, I mean, it's our favorite time of the year, and I'm glad for the first time in 7 years, Martin, first time in like first time in 8 years that we have a Cleveland Cavaliers team, one of those Final Four. Whether or not they flame out in four or not, they took that next leap.
Yeah, and if we are lucky enough to make it, regardless, the NBA Finals starts 2 weeks from now, Wednesday, June 3rd. So just putting that out there, Wednesday, June 3rd, we will definitely know who's in the NBA Finals. Evan, anything else, man?
Couple quick hits as
Hmm.
we popped on. Masai was hired in Dallas post Luca, post Nico to run in, and then we got the news that Jason Kidd is now out. Jason Kidd, who soldiered through, yeah, they traded Luca. I'm just going to try to win games here, all the stuff like he did, and obviously they had a different thought plan for, I guess, where they need to be or what needs to go on, all the things, and they'll be searching for a new head coach here too. Lottery winners, Martin, the Washington Wizards, and
Yeah,
finally the Utah Jazz have their highest draft pick in the history of ever, with the number 2 pick. So we'll see. There's been some discussion of could the Wizards move off that and the Jazz would move up if they're trying to get Debanta. It's a deep draft, as we know, so we'll see a lot of moving parts in June, but a couple other big important dominoes there as well.
yeah, and I mean with Washington, it's kind of crazy too because this year they made the trades, even though they never really played, for Trey Young and Anthony Davis. And now you have the number one pick. I mean, if who knows if things go well, if those two stay away from injuries, who knows what could happen? Watching the fortune just instantly changed.
Yeah, I mean, I think they call one of the pods I listen to call it. Yes, what happens if, as like kind of like a sliding doors scenario of like what happens if those doors stay open and you're able to walk through it, whether it's injuries, whether it's, hey, if that one shot fell or not. I mean, that's the beauty of this game. That's the beauty of, again, just all the coulda, woulda, shouldas. Back most recently to Kevin Durant's foot on the line, and then not winning, and then Milwaukee moves on and they beat the Suns in the playoffs. And when Giannis was first, I mean, there's so many coulda, woulda, shouldas. I'm sure there's still a number of them ahead of us here, even in the final conference round before they get to the finals, and then what the finals holds.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely, man. And then I think I just saw something. This is the NBA's most watched playoffs in the past 20 years.
That's great for the league that struggled with ratings.
Yeah. I feel like the ratings thing, honestly, Evan, is, and just a real last quick thing, it's just
Yeah,
the playoff games were just on too many different sites. Like,
yeah, that's a giant hurdle, and which is crazy that in spite of that they're seeing the numbers that they're seeing. So, I mean, like, it is challenging. Like, I canceled, what did I cancel this week? I canceled Peacock because I know, like, I think we're getting down to, I think they said it, I hope I'm not wrong, but I canceled Peacock because I thought we're down to ESPN or Amazon now, but I might be wrong. And or NBC, right? Just traditional
Spurs game was
NBC.
on
But
NBC and Peacock yesterday.
okay. Well, I definitely have it for like another like 6 days, but if I got to renew it, I might be host. if we don't have basketball life solved by now. But yeah, I mean, that is a genuine hurdle. I think you're exactly right. But I mean, it's surprising the numbers are still higher on the ROI, splitting them across like 5 different subscription services as opposed to flipping the channel on your favorite provider.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Anything else, Evan?
Go Cavs.
Perfect way to end it. Go Cavs. With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. We'll be back to preview the NBA Finals, hoping our Cavaliers are there, because then you will get the preview of all previews if we can get our home team in there. With that being said, thank you all once again. You guys take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.